And good evening, everyone. I'm Erin Burnett, out front tonight covering your bases, which seems to be President Obama's motto when it comes to the hunt for the NSA leaker Edward Snowden. So let me start with this morning. This morning, the president said he is not so concerned about this whole thing.
In terms of U.S. interests, the damage was done with respect to the initial leaks. I'm not going to be scrambling jets to get a 29-year-old hacker.
I kind of loved that, all right? But in the very same speech, after he dismissed the 29-year-old hacker, he then seemed pretty worried about the 29-year-old hacker. Here he is.
I continue to be concerned about the other documents that he may have. That's part of the reason why we'd like to have Mr. Snowden in custody.
So which is it? He gave everything up at the beginning, or you're worried about the documents he still has? All right, the president may just be after some 29-year-old hacker, but does the hacker have some pretty big secrets or not? Out front tonight, retired General Wesley Clark, former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, and Peter Brooks, a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. Okay, great to have both of you with us. General Clark, you know the president. I love the look on his face there when he just kind of got annoyed and was thinking, you know what, this guy is I'm sure there were some expletives in his head, 29-year-old hacker, and I don't want to deal with it. But can you interpret what he's saying here? Because at one point he said everything he was going to release that was a problem was done at the beginning, but then he said I'm worried about things he may still have. So which is it? Well,
I think the fact is that the way it came out at the time of the summit meeting with the Chinese president, it was hurtful. But on the other hand, there may be some more stuff behind it, but the truth is people know what's in there, and the American people are solidly behind the PRISM program and all that's going on. The American people want protection, and most people say, look, if that's what it takes, I'm happy. So I think the president's on very solid ground here. Let it work out. Snowden's going to disappear from the pages of history.
All right. Well, Peter, what do you think? By the way, the president had a factual error. I would be remiss if I did not point it out. I understand Edward Snowden is now 30. Maybe that would make a big difference. But
he's a 30-year-old spy. He's been charged with espionage.
He has been charged with espionage. Are you confused, though, by what the president is trying to say? At one hand, trying to say, I'm not worried. So all of you people who are trying to say the U.S. looks bad in all this, I don't give a you-know-what about this, this little pinochle of an issue, but then he's still worried. Are you confused?
Well, I'm not confused at all. I think the president has confused people, and that's unfortunate. We didn't see the questions from the reporters on that. But look, the president is trying to downplay this. He wants it to go away. He wants to change his story. He wants to focus on his trip to Africa. He doesn't want any more guff from international leaders, so he's not saying anything provocative. You imagine if he said something about Russia, what Putin might come back and say. I mean, he's been dissed by both Russia and China, and I think he wants that to stop.
General Clark, it is true. Putin has been thumbing his nose at the president. I mean, Putin likes to do that. That's kind of how he operates.
There's an opportunity to take advantage of, in politics, it would be like a gaffe. This is, for a statesman, this is like a national gaffe. It's where you have been doing something, it comes out like this. But every nation is doing this. What the United States is doing is not any different, and probably much less than what China is doing or what Russia is doing.
In terms of surveillance
all know that.
itself.
Absolutely.
But what about how the president feels about it? Because, you know, there have been some who've been critical, saying, look, this is a big deal. You know, if this is a big deal, as you all have been saying, that he could be sharing secrets with China or whatever he might be doing,
I'm sure
that we would want this guy.
The president's not happy about it. I mean, he wouldn't like it, but it's not something, you know, in the intelligence business, we always say, gosh, if they find out sources and methods, we'll lose the sources and methods. Well, I don't think that people are going to stop using the internet or stop making cell phone calls because of Snowden. Not people here and not people there.
Right.
So, you know, everybody's doing it. Most people know it's been going on all along.
And what about what the president said, though, about why he isn't personally involved in this? People have been criticizing, if you care, get involved. He hasn't, and he defended that today. Here's the president.
I have not called President Xi personally or President Putin personally, and the reason is because, number one, I shouldn't have to. This is something that routinely is dealt with between law enforcement officials in various countries.
I was just saying to General Clark during that soundbite, maybe it's because he's in Senegal, not in the United States, that he feels, I mean, that's unusually honest and direct.
Well, he's totally direct. I mean, it's not something that should be a head of state issue. It's not. Let it be.
He also doesn't want to be rebuffed, Aaron. He also doesn't want to be rebuffed. He doesn't want to be rebuffed either. I mean, he's been treated so badly. Even Ecuador is thumbing their nose at us right now. Like I said, he wants to downplay this. He doesn't want to do anything provocative. I remember, this is no drama Obama, and he doesn't want it to become a big story. If he says something and there's a repost from another leader, he's going to have to deal with that, especially when he's traveling around. So it's something he just wants to make this story go away.
Right.
Well, you can understand he doesn't want to be held hostage by a 30-year-old, Mr. President. Hacker, or whatever the word is you want to use, hero, traitor, I don't know. That is political in and of itself. All right, thanks so much to both of you. We appreciate it. And of course, everyone, let us know what you think of the continuing Catch Me If You Can saga of Edward Snowden. Well, President Obama is not the only one who seems to be making contradictory statements on this issue. Edward Snowden himself, talk about a history of I don't know, contradiction, hypocrisy. Again, it's all in the words of the beholder. He's been saying things that don't exactly add up. And Chris Lawrence is out front with that.
If you do that in secret.
Edward Snowden began his life of intrigue in Switzerland as a newly hired IT analyst working for the CIA. And if online posts are accurate, that life was an open secret. Snowden spilled all, praising the good looks of European women and pining for home when, say, European theaters inserted an intermission into the movie 300.
This is where we fight!
Users from Pound Artificial have released old posts from 4 to 6 years ago, claiming Edward Snowden ranted about Switzerland under his online username, The True Hoo-Ha. You guys wouldn't believe how expensive bleep is here either. You can't get tap water in restaurants. Some examples, please. They make you buy it in bottles, glass bottles, $5 a pop. You buy the tap water? Hamburgers are $15. According to Snowden, they tasted like greasy cardboard and weren't even as good as McDonald's. Speaking of which, he also posted, Jesus Christ, are the Swiss rich? The bleeping McDonald's workers make more than I do. They make like 50,000 franc a year. All this from an obscure chat room where anything goes.
You could think of Ars Official as the guys hanging out in the back room of the bar who feel like the rest of the crowd is a bit too stuffy for them.
And the man accused of leaking U.S. government secrets apparently hated leakers. WTF, New York Times? Are they trying to start a war? Jesus Christ, they're just like WikiLeaks. They're just reporting, dude. They're reporting classified bleep.
He seemed at this time to have views that are, not uncommon in the intelligence community, that leaks are really bad news and that leakers really hurt the U.S.
And Snowden seemed rock solid in that belief 4 years ago.
But over time, that awareness of wrongdoing sort of builds up, and you feel compelled to talk about it.
In fact, chatroom users describe his online persona as abrasive, even arrogant. The kind of guy who could get into a big political argument in a bar and not let it go, going on and on until everyone in the bar is mad at him. Aaron?
All right. Thank you very much, Chris Lawrence. A very interesting development. And still to come,